Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery outside here at our Pro Shop outdoor range. Got a product video for you. Wanted to tell you about the brand new Garmin Xero A1i PRO laser range finding bow sight. This is basically the Cadillac of bow sights. This does everything just in your bow sight. As bow hunters, we have sights, we have range finders. You got it all in one here with the Garmin Xero A1i PRO. Now, folks are probably familiar with the Garmin Xeros. You know, they've been out for a couple years. With the Pro version, Garmin has just made some tweaks that users have been asking for the last couple years. We're going to tell you about some of those. Garmin has covered the initial setup, and they run through every single one of the features, how you can customize them for yourself. They've got a great video right here that you can check out for all that setup information. What we wanted to do was tell you about the site first of all, and then show you some of the features that you're more likely to use as a bow hunter, just to give you a sense of how easy it is to use this site. All the functions will work similar to the ones we're going to tell you about, so we'll give you an idea of how easy it is to work with this site. But to start out, we wanted to tell you about the physical site, because with the A1i PRO, Garmin added a few things that we really look for, especially in the target archery world. They've built into this site, and that is micro adjust. So your elevation and windage are both done with micro adjust knobs. Right here I have my, this is my elevation, you know, just turning that by clicks, I can move the sight up and down. Right here on the side, I have my windage, same thing, micro adjust left and right, you know, as I'm getting it dialed in. Now you're gonna see two more micro adjust knobs. You're gonna see one here, and you're gonna see one here. I'll start with this one since that's where I'm holding it. So one of the things that Garmin has to have happen with this site is you have to get the screen in here aligned with your eye so that the laser is true to your eye. That may require you to change the pitch of this scope. So you can see here on this one, there's a curve. So that as you micro adjust this on this axis, you're changing the pitch of this scope up and down. With this one here, now you're swinging it like a door. This is another adjustment. So you're bringing that scope in and out like a door. Again, to get it perfectly flat with your eye so that that laser rangefinder works for you. But again, all micro adjust Garmin has put in there. It did not have micro adjust on the A1i, so the Pro is definitely an upgrade there. Another upgrade they have is the Dovetail right here. So you've got a Dovetail mount, you've got two positions for it right here. I have it in this mount, I could slide it forward here. But what that does, it allows you to disconnect the sight. You know, you're traveling somewhere that may not fit easily into a bow case, you can pop it off. You've got a quick disconnect for your cord, your trigger cord, quick disconnect right there. I disconnect those, I can pop that right off for taking it, you know, if I want to put it in a bow case. Some things that they kept the same, of course, you can see I have my trigger right here, so when I am in my grip and I want to range a target, all I got to do is reach down, hit that button, get my range, and then I am ready to shoot. So some of the adjustments that you're going to get in the scope here. You have your pins. With the A1i PRO, you can select whether you want them to be, whether you want your aiming dot to be red or green, you get to choose. You can change the brightness on there. You can have it set to where you range and you just have a pin at that specific range, or you can set it up to where you have fixed pins. If you feel more comfortable with that, you can do that as well, and it will give them to you for every 10 yards. Right now, the way I have this set up, it's got a stack of pins in there that run from 20 to 70 yards every 10 yards. Now, the A1i PRO, another thing it comes with is called an XD setting, which is extended range. So as I said, the pin stack that I have allows me to shoot from 20 to 76 yards. the 76-yard pin is going to be all the way at the bottom for me. Well, if I want to shoot out to 100, 110, whatever, I hit XD range, and then it will show me where I need to slide the scope to. I'll lose my shortest distances, but then I can extend it out and go out to, 110, 120, 130 yards. The reason that my sight is from 20 to 76 is when I set this up, it's set up to my specs that I entered in there. I entered in that I'm at 29.5 inches draw length. I entered in there my arrow speed, which for this setup was 270 feet per second. So that helped the sight calibrate and gave me my pin gaps, from 20 out to 76 yards. It'll give me shorter than 20, but those are your basics, distance. All right, so let's say, you're going out to your tree stand. The most basic operation is you got your power button right there. I turn it on, it comes up, there's my shooter profile. Now I am ready to go with ranging. All I'm gonna do is hit my trigger. It gives me a range and a number, and then I'm ready to go. So you can see those blinking lights. So what that is a dynamic level. So I have a built-in level on the scope right here. And then in the, surrounding my aiming dot, it's gonna give you 2 green lights. If I pitch to the right, the bottom dot is gonna blink. If I pitch to the left, the top one. So then that's just a visual representation of a level if I'm not paying attention to my actual bubble. So that's what those 2 lights are. Now, as I mentioned before, if I hit the power button again, now I can get my pin stack. And as you see, it's giving me my 20 to 70 yards. If I want to just go off fixed pins, each one of those pins is a 10-yard increment from 20 to 70 yards. You can see it alternates colors, so it's easy to tell what's going on there. Settings, let's take a look at settings. So if I go to settings and hit OK, now I have my pins. The pins, what that's showing me, if I click OK, ranged pin color red. So when I range a target, my pin color is red. If I want to go to green, I've got green there. I would just switch to green and then hit the power button. I like the ranged pin to be red, so I'm going to go back to red. Now I've got my hunt timeout. So that is how long does your pin stay up for before it clears. It's going to auto shut off just to save your battery. As soon as you hit the trigger, it'll start all over again. But with the hunt timeout, you've got 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 1 day. I have it set on 30 seconds, so that's where I'm going to leave it. But back to our main settings. Pins, you have your brightness. You go into the brightness setting and you can make your pins brighter or quieter, however you want. Pro settings. Okay, so this is going to be where you're going to go in. You remember I talked about XD mode. That's going to be my long distance. This is where I would activate that. I also have flight apex. So what is flight apex? So flight apex is going to give you a dot that will show you, as you're looking through the scope, what's the highest spot that my arrow is expected to rise. Flight apex will give me a dot at that point, so you can see if you're shooting, from a tree stand and there's some limbs, if you have flight apex on, you can see how high that arrow is going to go and see if those limbs, you're shooting a deer at 30 yards, you got limbs at 15, is your arrow going to clear those limbs? Flight apex will tell you that. Now, if you're using the flight apex, you can't use the dynamic level. You have to choose one or the other. I prefer the dynamic level, but I wanted to tell you about that flight apex. There's several other pro settings that you can go through. Again, we're just giving you a rundown so you can see the interface and how that works. So after the pro settings, I come to my level. That's where I have the dynamic level. I have it turned on right now, and you saw it. You can change the position of the level to high in the scope or low. Standard is where it straddles your aiming dot. So just to give you an idea, let's run through an arrow profile. Let's say I want to start over. I want to set up a new arrow that I've never shot from this bow before, so I would go to arrow profile in my home menu, click OK. You can see the one I already have set up. I'm going to scroll forward, add arrow profile. I'm going to click OK. Add profile new. OK. Now I can name it. I'll just call this one profile D. OK. And then I can go back and hit the check mark. Hit OK. Calibrate new profile. Yes. It says stand at the desired range for the first pin. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to act like I'm taking a shot. It says it's 20 yards away. I'm going to say use 20-yard range. Yes. Now it tells me to take a shot. So it has a pin in there for my distance of 20 yards. It says hit the bullseye. I'm going to hit yes. If I hit no, it would ask me to adjust, how much did I miss by? 1 inch, 2 inches, and it would recalibrate that way, but I did hit the bullseye, so I hit yes. And now it says calibrate pin stack, start. Okay. Auto calibrate using arrow speed, yes. Select arrow diameter. I've got a standard arrow. Hit OK, OK. Enter chrono speed. I already checked mine. I know that it is 270. So I'm going to enter my speed. It says validate the pin stack for best results. Requires 40-yard shot. Validate pin stack, start. Go to the farthest range you are comfortable shooting. So just for video, I'm not sure how far this is, but I'll say this is the farthest I'm comfortable. Now it asks me to hold trigger. So I want to get on my target. It tells me it's 41 yards. Use 41-yard range. Yes. Take a shot. Okay, now that time I hit low. So it says hit the bullseye. I'm going to hit no. I missed low. Inches low, I'm about 5 inches low. So I can enter that distance. Ranged pin adjusted. Take a shot. All right, that time it asked me if I hit the bullseye. Yes, I did. Range is complete. So I'm going to be able to shoot out to 65 yards. It told me my max range was 65. So that's in the standard mode. Again, if I go to XD, I can increase that. But right now this is set up to where I can shoot anywhere out to 65 yards. So we just went through setting up a new arrow profile. It is really that simple. The screen tells you exactly what to do. You just follow the instructions to get this thing calibrated. So it is that simple. Now, and there are many other features in there. As I said, if we went through all of them, we'd be here for an hour. So you can learn those, but you saw how easy that interface was. That's how easy it is to work with this site. Now, another feature we did want to tell you about that this site offers is it is compatible with your Garmin GPS devices. So in other words, you take a shot at a deer, you are able to mark that spot, go to your Garmin GPS device, and it will pinpoint that location for you. So I take a shot at a deer. Let's say I climb down from my tree stand. I want to know exactly where that deer was standing. I can check my GPS device. It'll take me right to the spot that I marked with my rangefinder. Yeah, they're two separate devices, but they will work together. All right, that is the Garmin Xero A1i PRO. Great new sight out from the folks at Garmin. This thing does everything in your bow sight that a bow hunter needs in the tree stand or the ground blind. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click that bell to get notifications whenever we put out new videos. And as always, if you have any questions, you can visit us at LancasterArchery.com.